everybody, it's Cassie, and today I'm going to be making my third batch of soap ever. I am a beginner to soap making. I made my second batch of soap a couple weeks ago and I recorded that video. I'm new to video recording as well, so I'll link that video either in the description or see if I can figure out how to make it pop up at the end of this video or whatever it is that people do on YouTube. But either way, I'll link my first video of me making my second batch ever. So this go round, I'm going to use the same recipe because I ran into a couple of issues the last time I tried making this recipe. It comes from Katie Carson's Royal Academy series. A couple months ago, she made a video where she gave out this recipe for free. It's mostly olive oil and coconut oil, and she used fragrance oils, but to keep my costs low, I just went ahead and used some essential oils that I had lying around my house. So instead of using fragrance oils, I'm going to use about 3% eucalyptus essential oil. I'm using extra virgin olive oil just because that was actually cheaper than regular olive oil, and so it already has like a yellow kind of greenish hue to it. So I think just a green eucalyptus bar will be great. I think it'll be perfect because it won't be ready until December. And I live in Texas, so even though it is Christmas, it is winter, it still can get pretty hot here. And just the idea of like a eucalyptus, like cooling, clean bar that like opens up your sinuses just seems really appealing to me for like a winter Christmas bar here in Texas. So the other thing that's different is instead of using my plastic Tupperware, I had my husband make this soap mold for me out of some scrap wood that we had. Again, trying to keep my costs low. It's not perfect, but I think it is more of a regular shape than my Tupperware. And I can't remember the dimensions right offhand, so I'll go ahead and add that in the description or in the little captions, like what these dimensions are. So it's going to be a tall and skinny bar, is what it's supposed to come out as. And this is my first time ever lining a mold. It took me a while, so I can see why people don't like doing it. But hey, it was free. So anyways, so again, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and make a simple olive oil and coconut oil soap with spirulina and eucalyptus essential oil. Let's go ahead and get started.
Today my husband Brian is helping me make this soap, so that is who the second pair of hands belong to. But what we are doing is we are mixing our lye solution, and when I made the soap the first time, I ran into some issues of just the soap being really moist in the mold and not setting up well. It seemed to have had like some of the oil come out of the soap. So I'm part of a soap making forum, and on the forum they suggested that I try doing a little bit of a water discount in my lye solution. So for this lye solution, we went ahead with a 40% lye concentration. So for those of you who do ratios, that's a 1.5 to 1 water to lye ratio. And for those of you who are not familiar with this type of soap and what Bastille means, according to soapqueen.com, a Bastille soap is at least 70% olive oil and has another kind of oil added to it. So in this recipe I am using coconut oil and extra virgin olive oil for that Bastille soap, which is supposed to provide a mild, low lathering and creamy type of soap bar that will take about 3 to 6 months to cure. we noticed some free floating like crystals or just some stuff in our lye solution, which I think is lilant. And just the internet says that you can strain it out if you want to, but you don't have to. So we went ahead and used my mica strainer as a little makeshift strainer for the lye lint to get it out of the solution, just because I don't have a larger strainer right now, and I figured it's better safe than sorry. And we went ahead and just strained that out before we poured it into our oils. I do want to mention that I ended up not using the spirulina in this soap recipe because in my first batch where I added the spirulina, now a couple weeks later, I'm noticing that the spirulina is kind of discoloring my soap batch, and it's making it a little bit of an orange color, which I don't really care for. So I just went ahead and left it out of this soap recipe. I thought, less is more, and just make it as easy and simple as possible. By this point, I had been blending and stirring the soap for at least 40 minutes, if not more, and my blender was overheating and getting really hot in my hands. And I was just very unsure if I had reached trace or not. My very first soap that I made was 100% lard soap, and that one reached trace so quickly. So for this one, I was really looking for a medium to thick trace, and I just couldn't get that to happen with this soap. So I just kept stirring and stirring and stirring, and finally I gave up and I said, you know what, we'll just call this trace. So I forgot to hit record, but after I tried to make a design on top of this soap with the skewer, I realized that it was just much too thin. So I let this sit on the table for about 15 minutes to thicken up, and I went back with that spoon and I made a little bit of design on the top.
Okay, so this bar has been in the mold for about a day and a half, and I'm going to see if I can go ahead and get it out. I mean, this is slicing wonderfully. This is the same kind of texture and consistency I got on the first time I made this recipe, but I had to wait like 3 days, 2.5 days. And this has only been 1.5 days. So thank you to everybody on that soap forum for giving me all these tips, because I think it made a difference. So I am very proud of these soaps. They look like soaps. They're not weird blocks. They're a nice size. I am trying to still learn about gel phase and all of that. And again, I'm still trying to learn just how to make soap, period. So I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't do any fancy colors or anything like that. And I'm noticing, and let me know if you guys know what this is, but I'm noticing like this top tiny layer of my soap is a different color than this right here. Is that like the line that you get is that like gel phase? Because when I was making this soap, I really wanted to put just a little bit of a design on the top. And because the soap was so liquidy, I had to wait a little bit for it to thicken up. So I let it sit on my kitchen table for about 15 minutes. And I have a vent that blows right on my kitchen table. And so when I went to go put this in over to cure, I noticed that this was 99 degrees. So while I was soaping, it reached up to 124. Then it got down to 99 degrees. And so I wrapped it up in a towel. I don't have a lid for my mold. So I wrapped it up in the towel, and I noticed that it got back up to 125 degrees. But then from then on, it just decreased over the evening. And then I unwrapped it this morning because it was already room temperature, and I just let it sit there. So I'm wondering if it reached gel phase. Is that what gel phase looks like? I don't know if y'all can see what I'm talking about. I know it's just a white bar, a creamy bar, and you can hardly tell what I'm talking about. But you can kind of see that the top layer is a different color than the rest of the bar. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop these in there and let them start their curing process. So thank you so much for watching. Again, this is not a tutorial or anything like that. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just trying to learn and showing that you don't need a lot of fancy equipment to make some soap, and just kind of sharing what I do with you guys, sharing what issues I come across, and just sharing my soap journey with y'all. Thank you so much for watching.